So, hello there everyone and welcome, it is Aniran here, and today it is time for me to bring you a little video discussing my thoughts on the FIFA 18 demo. Now, as you're watching this video, it came out yesterday, did the demo, and basically everyone rushed onto the store trying to play it. I couldn't download it for ages, but I have eventually managed to get on, get some gameplay, and acquire some thoughts and opinions on how the game is playing currently. Now, obviously this is not the final version of the game, so what you hear in today's video, just take it with a pinch of salt, because obviously it's not going to be exactly like this in the actual full build, and apparently the build that people played at the EA Capture event was closer to the final version than the demo is. Anyway, regardless of that, we're going to jump into things. If you enjoy the video, then slap a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into the thoughts and opinions. So first of all, we're going to start off with defending. This has been quite a talking point as far as people coming back from the Capture event has been concerned, and again with the demo too, because seemingly it's a lot harder to defend. I don't know what it is. I think it's almost like defenders move, I don't know, they're just less agile, which makes sense. They don't seem to move, they don't seem to change direction as quickly as they did on FIFA 17, so potentially that's the reason, but half of it as well is that defenders really just don't dedicate to tackles. The amount of times I've tried to make a challenge on this demo and the strikers still come away with the ball because the defender just hasn't dedicated to it enough. Obviously I'm talking about stand tackling rather than slide tackling. Slide tackling is basically the same, apart from some slightly different techniques, but stand tackling in itself just isn't massively effective. But it's really a 50-50 chance as to whether you actually win the ball back. Maybe that's more realistic, I don't know, you're not going to win every stand tackle, but it just seems like they're just not dedicated to actually winning the ball when they go in for a challenge. And obviously this means we could have high scoring matches, which is what we want really. We want FIFA to be fun, and we want there to be lots of goals. Equally on the other side of that, it could be very frustrating when you need to hold on to a 1-0 lead, and you make a perfect challenge in terms of everything that you can do, but your AI defender just doesn't really fancy it, and the striker goes through and equalises against you. So it could be a bit frustrating, but again, it could lead to higher score lines and, you know, just better action in terms of games. I think overall, on the balance of play, I'd prefer higher scoring matches like we had on FIFA 15, where the game was actually just very exciting to play and you always knew, you very rarely got 0-0 draws in comparison to the likes of FIFA 16 and FIFA 17. Now moving on to attacking, which I suppose goes hand in hand, it's way easier to score. So this is why I'm saying that we could get high scoring matches, of course, if this stays the same. Obviously everything is again subject to change, some things might change, some things might become less OP, but at the moment it's a lot easier to score, and there's two reasons to that really. The first one is that goalkeepers are not as good, but it's in a realistic way. Their reflexes just aren't as good, which I think is a good thing, because sometimes you get Jack Butland especially making saves at point blank range when the ball is literally going at 80 miles an hour and he'll tip it over the bar, and it never really seemed to make much sense. So that has been taken away, seemingly, which is good, but equally, they're just not as good at shot stopping, to be quite honest with you. They're not as good at reacting and making saves. That's just the crux of the matter. Goalkeepers just physically aren't as good, although their reflexes have been made more realistic. And on top of that, finesse shots are overpowered, but long shots are so overpowered. If you have anyone who's got over 80 long shots and shot power, you're going to score from 30 yards out or less. Like, it's going to go in. It's going to go top bins. It's going to go bottom bins. The amount of goals I've already scored from outside of the area is stupid on the demo, and I've only played 6 games in total. 4 of them were on a lower difficulty just to get used to sort of, I don't know, just how the mechanics worked and get a feel for how passing and dribbling was, and then the second 2 were on legendary to get a feel of how the difficulty is. I'll get onto that in a moment, but yeah, long shots, ridiculously OP. One thing I will say though going forward, which might hinder you a little bit, is that AI run making doesn't seem to be as good, or maybe as frequent is the better word. It doesn't seem to be as frequent. I don't know, you'll be wanting your striker to make a run down the channel, and he just won't do it, or the defender will track him a lot better, and it's quite frustrating running forward knowing that what you want your AI striker to do, and he's just not doing it. So that's a little bit annoying, but I guess that tempers the bad defending, or the difficult defending, that makes it so that every game's not like 7-7. But it can be a little bit frustrating to watch when you're going forward on the counter-attack, for example, but hopefully that is improved. Dribbling and passing, going to move on to that. Both are much crisper. It's, you know, passing, short passing is really nice, and actually the run making in the middle of the pitch, or space making, let's say midfielder's trying to make space to receive the ball is very good. So you can really easily just pass it around your opponents quite nicely. It's just then when you get into the final third, your attackers and fullbacks aren't as positive as they maybe would be on FIFA 17. Dribbling is good. Cruyff turns and explosive dribbling are both quite overpowered, but not to the extent of long shots. Cruyff turns just look really cool, so I think a lot of people are going to be trying those, and they do really fool you. And the AI defenders as well, which is good. The AI can quite easily, well, not quite easily, but can be beaten by skill. They don't predict it anymore, which they used to do on FIFA 17. You'd be able to do like a McGeady spin, and they'd sort of see it coming somehow, whereas that isn't really the case this year. So skilling against the AI is a little bit better if you're good at it. Final thing that I want to talk about in terms of the specifics is the difficulty. I alluded to it earlier. I played a couple of games. Most of the footage you'll be seeing in the background was played on Legendary in the 2 games that I tested the difficulty for. The first thing, which is a good thing before we get onto the negatives, the good thing is the big teams play better than the small teams. I played Real Madrid and I only drew. I played Atletico Madrid as I think it was Juventus and lost. And then I played 3 games, and then I played Toronto and won. And that was a much easier game. Toronto was a much easier game, and you could tell you were playing lower quality opponents, if you like. Apologies to Toronto fans, but Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid are better. Regardless of that, though, you can definitely tell that you're playing a big team, which is good, because ever since FIFA 16, career mode especially has had this weird thing where if you play a smaller team, the smaller team will thrash you. Like I've played so many times. I played teams like Charlton Athletic in the FA Cup on FIFA and been beaten. Like convincingly, they dominated the game, and then I can go and play Chelsea and win 6-0. It's really strange, it's a really strange dynamic, but if all things stay the same, seemingly from my small amount of, gameplay, but still a decent amount against different quality opponents, that seems to have been taken away now. Real Madrid definitely played better than Atletico Madrid, who definitely played better than Toronto. Hopefully that stays the same, because although it is fun beating teams like Manchester City 6-1, it doesn't really make much sense, and it's even more frustrating when you go into an FA Cup game hoping to play your young players and Charlton Athletic start playing like Barcelona, so I'm glad they've done that, but it still feels like you can work the AI out pretty quickly. I mean, I won my 3rd game ever on Legendary, convincingly. Although, yes, I was playing as, who was I playing as? I think I might have been playing as Juventus against Toronto. Yes, you'd expect to win that game, but it was pretty simple. Like, they only scored 1 goal and it was their only shot in the game. So I am a little bit concerned that you can work out the AI still pretty quickly and that it'll be too easy. Obviously, as I keep saying on here and on social media, I'd love to see it if EA could just implement Ultimate AI into career mode. I think that would be a difficult enough challenge to actually make the game difficult. Do you know what I mean? Like, Legendary at the moment isn't good enough, but Ultimate AI probably would be good enough in career mode, but for some reason, EA just won't put it into the game. So, a little bit concerned about that in terms of offline difficulty, that they can be worked out pretty easily and will be pretty beatable. The AI, interestingly enough as well, are not good in defence, so like yourself, but they are good going forward, so I expect some decently high scoring games against the AI as well, because they're very direct. That's one thing else that I like about them. They don't just pass it around the back, they are pretty direct, and seemingly different teams play in different styles. So that's about it for my thoughts, that's about it for my opinions on the defending, attacking, and other gameplay stuff, and the difficulty as well. Feel free, of course, to play the FIFA 18 demo yourself. It is out on the Xbox Live Store, and of course the PlayStation Store as well at the moment, so you can get a feel for it yourself, or equally, if you just want to wait for the full game to come out and build up the hype, then go and do that as well. That is absolutely fine. But if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to slap a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much. If you played the demo, then let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below, and as always, you can follow me on social media these days. My handle on Twitter is @theofficialfng, that is on the screen, and links to it are in the description, and as well as that, you can also follow me on Instagram. Again, handle there is @theofficialfng, exactly the same as my Twitter, and links to that are in the description as well. But it's been an absolute pleasure ranting at you guys today. Seemingly, the demo is good. Overall, I'm hoping that it stays the same for FIFA 18. So have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.
Yo, Massapeals. I roll out with some monsters. Looks like your team and you watchers. I do not roll with imposters. Sound like the man in the Oscars. I'm drunk. Think of Henny and Foster's. I have a career, I am jobless. This bitch f me so hard, I might just end up unconscious. I like girls in lingerie, especially if it is crotchless. Bitch, I am the bigger picture. There is no way you can crop it.